to Interviews Including ISIS. Today our special guest is Holden Caulfield from the book Catcher in the Rye. Welcome, Holden.
Thank you, Isis.
So, Holden, I understand that this book is based off of your real-life self from 2 years from now. Since you've aged since then, is there anything you would like to tell yourself as advice, or do you still feel the same way about it?
Oh no, I wouldn't want to change a thing. My mindset was right then and it still is right now. Although, if there were one thing I could change, I think I would have called Jane, if you want to know the truth.
Well, going more onto the topic of your mindset, I noticed that you had a very negative mindset towards people, things, yourself, well, really the whole world.
It's very simple, really. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how pointless everything is. Everybody's going to go off to some fancy school to get some education. Also, they can get a lousy job and try to get rich. And don't even get me started on people. There's hardly anyone I can even stand. All those hotshot guys who only care about how good they look and how the dumb girls who go after guys like that. To tell you the truth, I actually feel bad for all.
Well, you do have very valid reasons. I'll give you that. But why do you see the world so negatively? Could this have anything to do with your younger brother?
I do think it may have something to do with Allie and his death and all. You see, we were pretty close, Allie and me. I was fairly fond of him. We'd hang out a lot. He was one hell of a kid. When he died from leukemia, it really killed me. I mean, I punched through windows, for Christ's sake. I definitely think it affected my outlook.
I'm sorry for your loss. To bring up a lighter subject, let's talk about your adventures in New York while you were off on your own. From my understanding, you had some awkward interactions with people. From bartenders rejecting to serve you alcohol in front of women you were trying to impress, to crying while getting beat up for not paying the full price of a prostitute, to waking up to Mr. Antolini stroking your hair. What would you say was the weirdest?
Isis, that's a good question. Those were all pretty weird, disturbing moments for me. I thought I'd probably have to say that my interaction with Mr. Antolini was the weirdest. I may have been overreacting, but let's be honest. No one wants to wake up to their old English teacher getting...
No, I don't think anyone would. Backing up in the book, right before you go to Mr. Antolini's apartment, you're at your own home talking to your sister Phoebe. In chapter 22, on page 173, you tell her about how you want to be someone who saves children. You say, "What I have to do, I have to catch everybody if they start to go over the cliff. I mean, if they're running and if they don't look where they're going, I have to come out of somewhere and catch them. I'd just be the catcher in the rye." This kind of gives an insight to your soft side that hardly shows. Why is it that you're only positive when you're talking to or about?
Well, they're the only ones I can really stand. I can always see the good in them.
I also noticed that throughout the book, when you were alone in New York, you always tried to meet up with people and never liked to be alone. Why?
I never liked to be alone because I was really depressed. I noticed how terrible everything was. I was failing all the schools I went to. I didn't really have any friends, and I just plainly didn't like life at the moment. I thought that maybe if I distracted myself with old Luce or Sally Boy, then I'd make myself feel less sad.
Well, I'm glad to have talked to you, but it looks like our time's up. Thank you for joining us today on Interviews Including ISIS.
Yeah! Thank you! Okay, we're done. You are!
Backing up to the end. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, how do girls wear these? This hurts.
They do, I know.
Why?
Okay.
Oh, wait, no. That clap throws me home.
And
Amaya!
No.
Yeah.
you know.
Woo!